And the sound on.
Alright, hello class, how are you today? Good, awesome. Alright, so today we're going to be learning about life on Earth and specifically the plants and animals. And we will be listening to lecture 2. So today, in a pair, I'm going to have you describe the things that you see on the board, and each of them are labeled. So if you could just get in a group right now and briefly describe what you see for each one. And then in a few minutes we'll share. So you can actually get in a group. Okay. So Chris, in number 1, what did your group say you saw? Breathing. Awesome. Yeah. So the person is taking in air and then breathing it out. And Elizabeth, what do you think number 2 is? Food. Yeah. Food. Yeah. So food. We've got the different groups of food. And then Bronwyn, what about number 3? Going to the bathroom. Yeah. We've got a little kitty here going to the bathroom. And what about number 4? Chris, what did you say?
Kids, babies.
Yeah. So each one has children with them. All right, perfect. So today you are going to learn how to explain and understand the next 4 processes of life. So in the last lecture, you learned about the first 3, and now we're going to move on to the next 4. And they are still related to plants and animals. And we're doing this so that you'll be able to use the information you learn and use it in future science classes and be able to talk about it in English. And also just to be able to build your knowledge. And you're going to use your vocabulary notebooks and be able to define the 4 living processes that creatures need to survive. You're going to use the vocab and context clues within a listening activity to be able to understand the terms and the phrases and pick out important concepts as well. And then at the end, you should be able to summarize what you learned and also use the vocabulary. All right. So what kinds of things do you eat? What are your favorite scents? Do you have any siblings? Today we're going to learn the words nutrition, respiration, excretion, and reproduction. So get into groups and briefly go over these 3 questions. So they are, tell me how you nourish yourself. Have you ever been anywhere with bad air, for example, or somewhere with really fresh air? How did it make you feel? And do you have any siblings? Have any of your pets had babies? Do you have any children? So go ahead and get into groups and discuss these things. And let's pretend like you did that. So number 1, Bronwyn, what kinds of things do you eat to nourish yourself? What are your favorite foods?
I like to eat a lot of vegetables, like tomatoes and mushrooms, and lots of grains too.
Nice. Yeah, those are all really good things. Elizabeth, what did you say?
Yeah, I eat a lot of like leafy greens. Just kind of a balanced diet. I love like
And what did you say, Chris?
I eat a lot of dairy, probably too much, and lots of carbs.
Okay, cool. I also really like vegetables and fish, and like Chris, I eat too many carbs and dairy. And then we will pretend like we went through these questions. questions as well. To the next one. So we're going to do some pre-listening activities before we actually listen to the lecture. So I've got some handouts here for you. All right. Here's that one. And these handouts actually contain all of the activities for the day. So right now we are going to focus on activity 1A. So let's see here. So for activity 1A, you are going to use the following sentences and work in a group to just discuss the words in bold and just discuss what you think they mean together. And you can try to figure out what they mean based on the words that surround them. So you can get into a group right now and go ahead and discuss them. Yeah, you can just look at them briefly because in the next one we have to actually put the letters down. Just have them for a second. Alright. Okay, so number 1, they combine the carbon dioxide with water and sunlight to make food. Chris, what do you think number 1 is?
Mix together.
Wait, sorry. Never mind, let me go back. That's the next activity. Okay. So now that you've talked about the words in a group and what you think they might mean, let's look at activity 1B down below. So working with your group, match the terms in bold in section 1A with the definitions given below. And when you're finished, we're going to share the answers as a class. So you can actually go ahead and do that now. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, Chris, what did you say for number 1?
E mix together.
Perfect. And then, Elizabeth, what did you say for number 2?
F, put or held somewhere for use in the future.
Awesome. And Bronwyn, what did you say for number 3?
Said D, use leftover.
Right. And then, Chris, again, what did you say for number 5? Or 4?
B. Place together means.
Awesome. All right. And Elizabeth, number 5?
8, type or sort.
Awesome. And Bronwyn, number 6?
C to label or name something.
Good job. All right. So moving on. All right. So here are your vocabulary words of the day. And you will notice they are the same pictures from our warm-up activity. So if you could go ahead and copy these definitions into your vocabulary notebooks, which we'll pretend that you did. And then now we're going to go through and just read the definitions together. So I will read number 1, respiration. Respiration is the movement of oxygen from the outside environment to the cells within tissues and the transport of carbon dioxide in the opposite direction. Chris, can you read number 2?
Excretion, the process by which metabolic waste is eliminated from the organism and vertebrates. This is primarily carried out by the lungs, kidneys, and
Good job. And Elizabeth, can you read number 3?
Nutrition is the science that interprets the interaction of nutrients and other substances in food in relation to maintenance, growth, reproduction, health, and disease of the organism.
Awesome. And then if you could read number 4, Bronwyn.
Reproduction is the biological process by which new individual organisms, offspring, are produced from their parents. Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all human life. Each individual organism exists as the result of reproduction.
Good job. Alright, so example sentences. So first, I'm going to show you examples of sentences that I wrote, and I used the vocabulary words, and then after I show you mine, you will get into groups and create your own. So number 1, my respiration rate was very healthy yesterday. 2, the cat's excretion was very smelly. 3, nutrition is important for your health. And 4, reproduction is how we increase the world population. So in a group, go ahead and create some sentences with the new vocabulary words that you've learned. And we would pretend that you did that. And then after you created them, you would share them with class. Alright, so before we do the listening activity, we're going to do some pronunciation practice. Japanese students have a tough time with the R sound in English, and one of your words is respiration, and another one is reproduction. So we're going to practice the R sound. So everybody try and say Awesome. And when you're saying sometimes we tend to say r instead of So let's practice again. Awesome. Alright. So in order to make the sound in English, which is one of the hardest sounds to master, you can do a few things with your tongue. So when you say the R sound, the tongue pulls back in the mouth, and it doesn't touch the top of your mouth. So when we say let's think about where our tongue is. So try it again. Does your tongue pull back? Yeah, awesome. And then I would show you this 3-minute YouTube video, but I won't do that since I'll play the listening activity. Okay, also, in preparation for the listening, we're just going to remind ourselves about connected speech. So examples of connected speech, words like shoulda instead of should, or gonna instead of gone. And we've worked on these before, so we're just going to remind ourselves what they are. So, for example, number 1, on a trip. Somebody might say it like, on a trip. Can you say, on a trip? On a trip. Good job. And 2, we all. Sometimes might sound like, we all. So can you say, we all? We all. Awesome. And the meeting is on a, might sound like, the meeting is on a. Can you say, the meeting is on a? Good job. And with a might sound like with a. Can you say with a? With a. Awesome. So just keep that in mind when you're listening to the activity. Alright, so now going into the second page of your handout, you will notice chart 2A. We are going to listen to a lecture from Dr. Norris, and based off of what he says, you're going to fill in the blank spots in your chart. Okay? And you will likely hear our vocabulary words in the listening activity. Okay. So we're going to listen to it one time through, and you don't have to write anything down. And then the second time we listen to it, we'll sort of start to write things down. So I'll pretend like you guys listened to it once through already, and then this will be the second time.
And reproduction. Organizing your notes in a chart. Page 140.
The next 2 processes are nutrition and respiration. You've probably heard of nutrition before. That's the process of getting food, and all living things need food for energy. Plants have a very special way of getting food. they make it themselves. To make their own food, plants take a gas called carbon dioxide out of the air. They combine the carbon dioxide with water and sunlight to make food. This
Alright, so you'll notice what he just said there is already in your chart. And he put it in plants. It's carbon dioxide, or CO2, plus water, H2O, plus sunlight equals food. So you will write down things like that within your chart.
food is stored inside the plant and used when the plant needs energy. Animals, on the other hand, cannot make their own food. Because of this, they have to eat plants or eat other animals that have eaten plants. Okay, so once food is inside a plant or animal, the next life process begins, respiration. And what is respiration? The process of respiration helps to change the food into energy. Now, animals take in oxygen by breathing in air, whereas plants take in oxygen through tiny holes in their leaves. In other words, we see that both plants and animals need and use oxygen to change food into energy inside their bodies. All living things need energy to support all the other life processes. So, you can see why nutrition and respiration are so important. During respiration and the other life actions, plants and animals create waste materials. These are extra materials that a living thing doesn't need or want. If the waste isn't removed, it will become harmful. Plants pass waste through their leaves and through their roots. Animals move waste out of their bodies in their breath, sweat, urine, and excrement. To quickly review then, all living things grow, move, react, eat, respire, and excrete. All living things also grow old and finally die. So the final life process, reproduction, is necessary for life to continue into the future. During reproduction, plants and animals make more of their own kind. Animals have babies or lay eggs. In contrast, most plants make seeds which fall onto the soil and grow into new plants. All right, that's our checklist. For something to be called living, it must show all 7 life processes: movement, growth, sensitivity, nutrition, respiration, excretion, and reproduction. Usually we can easily identify something as living, but remember, it must meet all 7 life processes. An automobile moves, an automobile can be sensitive, an automobile requires nutrition, like gas, and it excretes smoke. But is it a...
So, did you get everything in the charts? We can turn that like way over 2 more times. We got the charts. Awesome. All right. So we could share some of the answers now. Elizabeth, for nutrition, what did you put under animals?
It said they cannot make their own food, so they eat plants or other animals that eat plants.
Perfect. All right. And Chris, for respiration, what did you say for plants?
They breathe through holes in their leaves.
Cool. Good job. And then Bronwyn, for excretion, what did you say for plants?
They remove their waste through their leaves and their roots.
Yeah, good job. All right, so going to the next page of your handout, we are going to fill out this chart, and the chart has all 7 life processes that you've learned from lectures 1 and 2. Based off of the chart, you are going to work in a group and complete the checklist and decide whether they are living organisms or not living organisms. So if they're not a living organism, go ahead and put an X. And if they are a living organism, go ahead and put a check. Got it? Yeah, go ahead and get together in a group and fill out the chart.
Would be like wood, right?
How's it going over here? Good. Some of you guys a good hand. Awesome. Finished. All right. So for homework today, I want you to finish B and C in your handout. And then tomorrow morning, I will quiz you and we'll share our answers for B and C. Okay, all done.
Good job.
Thank you.